There you go. Coach, your opening statement?
Yeah, obviously tough right now to find the words. Tough scene in the locker room. I really was proud there of the defense of really getting a stop there. Obviously Miami was trying to get a first down there, throwing the ball those last two downs there, trying to get a first down to really effectively end the game. But our defense did a great job of holding them to a field goal, getting us on 6 points within 6 right there, and felt great about the way the 2-minute drive started there. Obviously the face mask on Malcolm and really put us into great field position. And then once we got into great field position there, we just weren't able to convert. And it's disappointing because that's been a strong point. Obviously up to this point in the season, there's been some really positive 2-minute drives that have taken place, and Caden's done a really good job of engineering those. And so, put ourselves in a position there, but unfortunately, we weren't able to get it done. So it's tough. The disappointment, the dejection, the frustration, the emotion, all those things. Obviously, just looking at the guys in the locker room, very, very difficult. Certainly not a matter of, I'm very confident guys gave it everything I had, but at the end of the day, we didn't make enough plays in critical situations there to give ourselves a chance.
I know that, we've talked after losses like these before, but I don't know if you described the situation in the locker room, I guess, quite as the same way that you have tonight.
Yep.
What made it especially tough tonight?
Just the gut, just the heartbreak. Some of the guys that are playing in that game for the final time, that's tough. And you look at their faces, and it's tough to find the words to share with those guys in a situation like that. So just, obviously we got 3 games here. We still got a lot of football to be played, and the only way to do business is to finish the fight, and just encourage them that, obviously a little bit different schedule now that we've played 2 games at night here in midweek action. We don't have our normal day after the game, so they'll be off tomorrow. Got to handle business injury-wise, but there's only one way to play the game, and you just got to finish the fight and stick by each other's side, and we can still accomplish a lot. It's going to sting, obviously, tonight, and there are no excuses. Obviously, we just got to come back in and go back to work, and we're going on the road to Buffalo, and they're playing good football too.
Yeah. We noticed just in the run game, Braden Sloan, Vaughn Pemberton are normally the leading rushers in terms of attempts. Tonight it was Kyle Kelly. Was that the plan going in?
Yeah, it was such a you think about last year in the game and what Miami does defensively. You could turn on the tape for the last 2 or 3 years, and just what they do is what they do, and they're really good at it. And so obviously we had a big game a year ago running the ball with some of the QB run stuff, so that was a big part of the package. Obviously having a weapon like Kyle and trying to get him going too, and with the rainy conditions and all that stuff, obviously felt like that was something that could be strong for us. Just couldn't really get it going. But you got to give them credit too, because they do. They run their defense well, and that's why they've been so consistent, and that's why they've done such a good job. So, unfortunately, we couldn't get that going the way that we had kind of hoped. But you also, like I said, you got to give those guys credit as well.
It seemed like the red zone offense as well was a bit more, I guess, limited than normal, and we saw a lot of unusual plays in the red zone.
Yeah.
Was that because of what you guys saw out
Well,
of the defense?
yeah, obviously you got to give them credit, but at the same time, man, we can't settle for 2 field goals down there. However it has to happen. Obviously, one thing you're trying to do is gain an extra hat. So when you have some QB runs in the red zone, you get an extra blocker with the back, and so that evens up the odds, if you will. So again, some of it was about execution when you watch the iPad on the sideline. Which is obviously an advantage to be able to do that, but some of it come down to execution, or perhaps a cut, that could have been a little bit different outcome. But again, you got to give them credit, and for us, that's you talk at halftime when we have a drive like that gets into the red zone, we got to be able to finish the deal and get it in the end zone on a touchdown, not settle for a field goal.
Yeah. Is this loss particularly frustrating in the fact that we talked about consistency this year, and defense starts to put it together,
Yep.
but this time it's kind of an offensive struggle?
Yeah, no question. That's hard. Obviously, I'm proud of the defense because at halftime that was a big point of emphasis about the coverage and some of the throws and some of the completions that took place in the first half. So our guys did a good job coming out and responding in the second half and doing a really good job that way because obviously we held them to 2 field goals there in the second half. But, yeah, offensively, obviously we didn't deliver there, especially in the fourth quarter when you had some opportunities and couldn't get a drive going there when we had a chance. And, it's really at the end of the day, we didn't make enough plays, and it comes down to that.
Here's what were you seeing in that final 2-minute drive that just didn't go to plan?
Well, just once we got across midfield there, it came down to execution. Really it's as simple as that. It's not really a complicated answer there. It's just, you felt good. You put yourself in position. We had plenty of time left on the clock. Still had 2 timeouts, so we had everything in our control. But then obviously after that, once we got that penalty, that 15-yard penalty on the face mask, we weren't able to really do anything. We didn't any positive plays after that. We had the incompletion. Then he scrambled there on the second down for really no gain. Then we had the sack there on third down, and then obviously that incompletion on 4. So really weren't able to execute, and when we got ourselves in great field position.
I guess, what are you telling Caden, obviously a young quarterback, after a 2-minute drive that didn't go so
Well, he's done such a good job. Obviously, the 2-minute drive, 15 seconds left last week to put us in position to kick a game-winning field goal was incredible. Obviously, did a great job, in the Central Michigan game several weeks back. We're into the first half, into the game. So all the confidence in the world in him. He did a great job again of connecting on some big throws to get the 2-minute drive started, getting ourselves in good field position. But again, you got to give them credit too. So obviously, once we got in great field position there, then they stood strong.
I guess if you could have a takeaway from this game, what would it be for you?
I don't know if there is one right now. Obviously, frustrated, disappointed, stings.
Coach, going back to you, Kozios was his first game in a while where he only had 4 catches, and Justin Bowick stepped up big time. What do you see on him?
Justin's always had that, for a guy that's got that kind of size. He's got really good speed as well. And, unfortunately, we were without him the first 6 games of the season. So it's great to have him back now for the 3rd game in a row. And we all knew the type of game he had tonight, that's what he was capable of. So to see him, obviously, on that post route early in the game where he caught it and got us down inside the 5. Unfortunately, we settled for a field goal. And then, for him to have that big catch there, that 55-yard touchdown where he won. He did a great job of stacking the guy, which you always talk about. Once you get a good release, stack him. Make sure you do a good job of holding the red line, and Caden put it on the money, and he finished the deal. He ran through a couple arm tackles down low and kind of was running strong there to finish the deal. So to see him have that kind of game, I saw that back in spring ball, to be honest with you. I saw that excitement when you see that kind of guy with that kind of speed and playmaking ability. It was good to see him have a game like that.
And then Coach, talking about execution down the stretch there, it seemed like maybe a potential reason why you weren't able to execute is that Simonza was facing a lot of consistent pressure.
Pressure was part of it. I think some execution too on the perimeter. Had a couple blocks that weren't quite as good as they needed to be on the perimeter. A hit by Cam there earlier in the game for 10, 11 yards, and so again, I don't want to take anything away from them. They did a great job of executing on their end, but you can't have 3 and out when you're in that critical situation. And obviously we're backed up a punt. They did a good job of hitting a big punt in rainy conditions, and obviously Keon caught it there and maintained possession, which is great. But they pinned us in set right at the 5-yard line there. So, but we've been in those situations before, and we've done a good job of executing. We didn't get it done tonight.
You kind of face situations as a coach like you're about to go into with these last 3 games where essentially you got to win out.
Yeah.
How have you approached those in the past?
My goal is to come in and be the same guy every day, try to make sure I do the best I can to help prepare our football team on the practice field, help prepare our team through the meetings, all those things. So nothing's going to change with that. Obviously, I'm going to go home tonight. It's going to sting. I'm very appreciative of my family, of being loving and being there for me. But just got to get back to work tomorrow. Certainly not going to be easy tonight, but you got to turn the page, and there's only one way to do business, and that's to fight all the way till the end.
Was it a part of the offensive game plan to sort of attack the secondary through the air more so than on the ground?
I think part of that's just the confidence level that we have in Caden. Obviously, the confidence level in some of the guys that are playmakers, not just Tanner, but you've seen really good things out of Malcolm Gilly, out of Cam Pickett, out of Keon. Obviously Justin Bowick now. Feel like he's got some big play potential. So I think it's one of those things that we felt good about. They play a one-high defense and they get an extra defender in the box a lot. And they're good at it. And they do a good job with their defense. And, Matt Salopek's played 6 years of football at a high level, and he's had going on his 4th straight year now of 100 tackles. There's nothing that he hadn't seen, and he does a good job of directing traffic out there, getting their guys lined up. Any adjustment needs to be made, he makes it. And obviously told him at the end of the game he's a hell of a player and got a lot of respect for him. But, on our end of it, just felt like there was going to be plays, and certainly didn't worry at all. We had a wet ball drill yesterday in practice where we threw a lot of balls to the wideouts that were wet and making sure that knowing the conditions could be the way they were tonight. But I don't think the rainy conditions had an impact on, Caden, his ability to throw the ball, and certainly didn't affect him that way.
Speaking of 6 years, their quarterback, Brett Gabbard, has been
Yeah.
here for a long time, and he had a great first half, but
Yep.
the young secondary seemed to really step up in the second half. How much do you think it helps them to face a guy like that?
Yeah, and again, Brett does a great job, and obviously he was manipulating the cadence all night, trying to keep our defensive line on their heels. Obviously when you're manipulating the count, and I think he went on 3 claps several times throughout the night, shot his hands, which, our guys did a great job from a discipline standpoint, not jumping off sides, because obviously that showed up on film, and guys did a good job preparing for that. But he's a hell of a quarterback. Obviously last year didn't face him due to his injury, but he's playing high-level football, especially the last 3 weeks going into our game, and really made some big-time throws tonight. All right. Thanks, guys.
Go ahead, Kyle, guys, if you wish.
Justin obviously struggled with injury at the start of the year. To have a game like this, given the fact of what you've gone through leading up to tonight, what is that in the perspective that you have?
It felt really good, to make plays and just know all my hard work paid off. And, just got to keep working and hopefully go back next week and get the dub.
How do you balance, recognizing that you had a good individual performance and also realizing that maybe the offense in general needs to improve to win games?
Yeah, I mean, it's good that I made plays, but, without the win, that don't really mean anything. But, yeah, that's it.
Mike just talked about the confidence that he has in Caden to lead the offense through the air. What's your relationship like with him?
Caden, me and him are really close. He's telling me what he sees on the field, when we make mistakes, and I'll just try to clean it up. And then that's just how we get better, and through practice and everything.
It seems like most of his targets, whether it's tight ends or wide receivers, are very confident in him. What is it about him as a passer that makes you confident in him?
It starts with his leadership. He gets us going. He motivates us, pushes us every day.
I know that the scene in the locker room was tough for a lot of these guys. They played here for years and they never beat Miami.
Yeah.
Could you feel that sense as well?
Yeah, it was a lot of hurt in the locker room, just not being able to get that win. But I know we'll bounce back for next week.
Do you feel like it's important for the offense to have a balanced attack in terms of rushing and passing? Yeah,
I feel like we hit on all cylinders, the running back room, tight end room, receivers. I feel like we have a really good offensive core, and, it only gets better from here.
And what was it about Miami's defense tonight that made it tough to convert on 3rd down in the red zone in particular?
I feel like it came down to us, just small mistakes and things like that. We just got to clean up, but not really anything they really did.
Are there any mistakes in particular that this offense made?
Just I know for me, one of those catches I dropped could have caught to get the 1st down, and things like that.
Yeah, and does that have anything to do with the weather at all?
No, we practiced in the rain and caught some wet balls, so that didn't really affect us.
Yeah. How do you move forward from that, where you have this game where you have 170 receiving yards, but you're also thinking about the drops? How do you take the positives and the negatives going forward?
I just look at, the drops or failures I had and just, learn from them to make me a better player.
You talked about confidence. I'm interested how you find that confidence
Just a lot of hardships and, just having a chip on my shoulder, just push myself every day to just try to be great and be a better person and player.
I know you talked with others about the midseason number change. How much have you learned from Ty, even though, right now he's not active to play?
We did a lot of things in the summer. That's when I kind of got close with a lot of the guys. And, just that bonding, just learning from each other and pushing each other every day. Summer practice just made all of us better.
Yeah. Is there anything that he's doing now, even from the sideline, that's helping you out as a receiver?
Yeah, he tells me certain stuff, like what he sees or what I can, do better. But I know I don't really see him that much because he's, in rehab and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I guess with there being 3 games remaining, obviously you have to win all 3 to be bowl eligible. What has to be the mentality from here on out?
Everybody, just lock in, take 1 week at a time, and just, prepare each week to go 1-0.
One other thing that I was wondering, did you feel any added pressure tonight? Just Redbird Rivalry game, they already mentioned you guys hadn't won it for years prior, and then you get the ESPN primetime game tonight. Was there any added pressure out there on the field?
No, I'll say motivation of anything, ESPN, everybody's watching, just why wouldn't you just want to go out there, get the win, and let everybody know what your name is?
How does that feel to showcase your talents on that kind of stage tonight?
I felt pretty good, just like I said earlier, just all my hard work through the week paying off, but I wish we got the dub.
Any final questions for Justin? All right, Mr. Bowick, thank you,
All right,
Justin.
appreciate it.
Brandon Berger, come on in. Thank you. Open for questions. Go ahead, fellas.
Before we get into the game as a whole, talk me through kind of what you saw on that pick 6.
Just a busted play by them, Elements were a factor tonight, and in the right place, right time. Guy mishandled the ball, and I was lucky to be able to take it back to the house there.
Is that something that, plays like that are so unique and kind of freak plays, are those still things that you work on in practice to be prepared for moments like that?
For sure. You got to be ready at all times. Any given play, something like that can happen, and I'm glad that I was able to capitalize on it when it did happen.
Did you feel good about the defense's overall performance tonight?
Yeah, we could have stepped up and made more plays to affect the game, just like that one. We could have stepped up, had more takeaways, or even scored again, but I thought we were pretty solid for the most part. But, like I said, we can always, on any down, find ways to affect the game. So I wish we could have done a little bit more of that.
Yeah. I know that throughout your time at Ball State, you haven't been able to beat Miami. Where is your mindset at right now in terms of dealing with another loss to them?
It's unfortunate. We were right there. Had a chance to go down and win it there at the end, but like I just said, defense could have been more effective too and made more plays to where it's not even a close game like that in the end. I feel like we went out there and executed, and we could have just won that game, and it could have not even been close at the end. But, yeah, we really wanted to get that trophy tonight.
In the past, when you have close losses like this to rivals, how have you gone about responding to these losses?
At this point in the season, we know we got to go 3-0 these last 3 games, so that's all we're focused on. I'll do anything to win these next 3 games and get one more game, bowl game with my brothers, So, yeah, at this point, that's all we're focused on. We got to go 3-0 here on out.
Mike talked about the locker room. What's that feeling like compared to a win when you're coming off a loss like this?
Yeah, it's just we got to chase that winning feeling again. It's not a great feeling in the locker room tonight, knowing that we were that close to getting the trophy, back-to-back trophy games, but just use that as fuel for these next 3 games and know that we got to leave it all out there these next 3 games and go out there and win.
Are you kind of taking now these next 3 games as kind of laid out on the line?
Yeah, for sure. It's all we can do. It's all we can do is lay it all on the line. Got to win these next 3 games. That's all we're going to be focused on.
To bring back another thing that Mike was talking about earlier, he said that defense was a big focus of halftime. How do you feel about the adjustments that you guys made in the second half?
I feel like we definitely buckled down in the second half, and we just let them get a few explosive plays here and there down the field. But we up front, we had some good plays. We had a sack, I think, and You know, we could have affected more and just helped the back end and the whole defense as a whole. We could have done more just to affect their quarterback and affect their offense. But
And, you know, post-game here, you know, some of we've had a lot of those successful drives, you know, in the last 2 minutes, you know, but looking at it the other day, what do you say from the defensive side to those offensive guys?
it's all right. We're all going to learn from it. You know, they all went out there and left it on the line too. They all went out there and tried to go win that game at the end, but it's a really tough situation. I mean, we had a great situation last week in that time, but it's not always going to happen. But we got to use it as fuel, learn from it, go 3-0 from here on out.
We've talked with Mike and the other defenders throughout the season about the confidence and the defense's improvements this season. How do you kind of balance that confidence with, you know, still being frustrated with the close loss?
We just got to keep stacking reps. I mean, we've definitely gotten better throughout the season, but we're never going to be perfect, and we got to realize that and just know that we got to keep trying to get better each week. And like I said, like even though we had a couple of good plays on defense tonight, like there's still any given play we could have affected the quarterback more or made a big impact play to help us win that game. So we're just going to keep learning from it, keep stacking, and keep getting better.
Anything last for Brandon? All right, awesome.
Thanks,
Brandon Berger,
guys.
thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.